Well, it is turning out to be a quiet day, considering that I'm sure a lot of people have just taken today off and taken a long weekend. So you can see that in the markets and the kind of subdued nature we're seeing. Brent crude obviously continues to be a concern. But nonetheless, we have some source-based information, a CNBC-TV18 exclusive, where we understand that Bank of Baroda is likely to get around 5,000 crores of capital infusion from the government this week. Abhishek Kothari is here with the details, what it means for the capital adequacy ratio and more. Abhishek.
Well, Ekta, as you mentioned, Bank of Baroda will get a 5,000 crore of capital on the bond issuance by the government on its deposits this week. So, government had skipped giving capital to Bank of Baroda in its previous few tranches. So, this capital allocation will be made from the budgetary allocation that the government has already done. Remember that going into elections, there cannot be any fresh new expenses. So, this is from the budgetary expenditure that has already been set aside. So, government at the previous recap had kept aside rupees 5,000 crore as cushion for capital infusion into PSU banks. So the plan was to actually infuse 5,000 crore of bond issuance for Bank of Baroda so into the merged entity. So that will be Bank of Baroda. So with this 5,000 crore of recap, the government will actually exhaust all its FY19 PSU recap plans that it has. So capital is actually needed by the bank in order to make provisions once you have the merged entity and you see the pains or the provisions that you have to make additional over there. So, we had written to Bank of Baroda. However, we are still waiting for a reply from their end. Back to you.
Okay, all right, Abhishek. Thank you so much for that. 5,000 crores perhaps is the incremental capital that BOB stands to get. On that note, let's shift our focus back to the market. Screen is not really moving. Not too much has changed. We're still down about 27 to 28 points on the Nifty. That is the story so far. Do watch out for NTPC, by the way. There's some quick buying on that one stock that's emerging now. Ashwini is with us now. Let's get some trades in. Ashwini, good morning to you. It's very quiet Friday after Holi. Belated wishes of the festival, of course. Any trades on the indices, or are you going with stocks for now?
Well, I guess second half looks like a bit of a holy shower. Because, every day the market dips and finally by the end of the day, it tends to make a fresh high. Now, there's a limit to how much that can happen. My sense is that at 11,550, the market seems to be failing and is getting ready for some sort of a short-term correction. So, I would think 450, 470, that sort of zone, should give you buying opportunities. And because it's a very, very overbought market, it may not be easy to engineer another half a day type of rally. So we have short positions, and possibly because people are so used to buying the dip, buying today's dip may not succeed. And, finally, the second half could be a bit worse than the first half. Having said that, REC is a sell with a stop of 144, target of 132. Hind Petro is a sell with a stop of 275, target of 260. And Balrampur Chini is a buy with a stop of 125, target of 141.
Mm-hmm. Anything about the aviation stocks that you might like or dislike? Ashwini, SpiceJet, Interglobe, both these stocks up 10.5% and 11% or maybe 27% for SpiceJet this week itself.
There are all kinds of cans of worms here. So, sector best avoided. I would much rather get into some banks or things where there are no controversy. Aviation, one day, one investor is coming, next day, next investor is coming, and finally, you may figure out that there is no investor, nobody wants to sink in money. I mean, why should I get into that sort of speculation?
Okay. All right, fair enough. We have a query, I suppose, from a viewer. This is a query that we are getting on Twitter. Let's quickly run through this. This is from Sai Praneeth, who holds 20 shares of HEG at a price of 22.30. Now, Sai is asking whether he should hold or sell. Today's price on HEG is 20.79. There is a loss. They were great wealth creators at one point, these stocks, HEG and Graphite, Ashwini, and then the tide turned. Obviously, he didn't have his exit strategy in place. Now what to do?
I'm not even sure he knows what HEG does, because it's a commodity stock, it's had its good run, and now the time is for it to go down. HEG started from 200, so that is where it can go down to. I don't think this is going to lead him into profits.
Okay. All right, Ashwini, we're going to let you go on that note. Thanks very much for joining in, taking us through all of your strategies. Turning out to be a bit of a choppy session, you'd have to say, for the Bank Nifty, which is now at the low point of the day, down around 140 odd points currently for the Bank Nifty. And you're seeing that kind of choppiness come through for the Nifty and the Sensex as well. The mid-cap index, which had just about broken into the green just a couple of minutes ago, is now back down around 27 odd points. Tight range, but nonetheless, there is some amount of profit booking that you can see on the screen at this point. Take a break, but coming up, as India gears up for elections that kick off in less than a month, CNBC-TV18 gets you an on-ground check as to how the economy is faring. Stay tuned for that conversation.